Right. Welcome to all of you. Another webinar series going on the same topic as we discuss individual income taxation. Right. Uh, few of you already request to have a presentation as well. So anyway, I will share the presentation format with you after end of the session. Right. I will, first of all, I will brief you the very basic detail of the individual taxation, right? Let me share the screen with you. Hope you can see the screen, right? Uh, Devmi, you can see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. I'm Kokila Mudgama, so you know about me. I'm holding MBA in taxation, University of Jayawardenepura and Chartered Tax Consultant, a fellow member of Sri Lankan Institute of Taxation, and visiting lecturer at state universities. So, first of all, as we shared first uh, half uh, half an hour, we'll discuss the those who are having salary only, right? Because nowadays most of you are having individual taxation tax file, right? Then all of you to record to submit a return, right? Then how we can accommodate, how we can file the income tax return effectively by getting the basic knowledge of income taxation, right? How you can compute yourself tax liability, right? Or කොහොමද ඔයා විසින්ම tax liability එක හදාගන්නේ කියන එක, right? ඔයාලා හැමෝගෙම ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා then you can rename yourself, right? By going to the participants in the Zoom app, right? ඔයාලට ඔයාලගේ නම change කරගන්න පුළුවන් registration number එක නැතුව ඉන්න බැරි වෙයි, right? ඒක නිසා හැමෝම username එක rename කරගන්න participant touch කරාම ඔයාට උඩින්ම පෙන්නනවා එතන rename නම උඩ touch කරාම rename කියලා එනවා. ඒකේ rename කරගන්න ඔයාගේ registration number එකත් එක්ක, right? එහෙම නැත්නම් දෙව්මිට message එකක් දාන්න දෙව්මි ඔයාලට change කරලා දෙයි, right? ඊට පස්සේ so let me share the screen with you again, right? I will discuss you this Excel format as well one by one by discussing the by including the amounts, right? One by one, each and every sources. If you have employment only, how we can compute, right? Salary විතරක් තියෙන කෙනෙක්ගේ කොහොමද tax එක හදන්නේ කියලා, right? මෙතන හදලා පෙන්නන්න, right? Sample එකක් මේ theory discussion එකෙන් පස්සේ after completing this theory, the snapshot of individual taxation summary, right? This is snapshot of individual taxation summary. We don't have much slide, only 9, right? 8 slides are there. I will brief you what are the key things, right? As individual, what you have, right? The applicable tax law is, as you are aware, it is Inland Revenue Act number 24 of 2017 Act as amended, the active status tax, right? Then every individual, then the act says every person who have taxable income shall pay income tax, right? Then the person in the sense, all the person include, right? Individual, body of person, entity, company, partnership, trust, right? All these things are included, but here we are focusing today only the individual, right? Therefore, we will learn individual taxation, right? How to compute individual tax. ඔයාගේ tax liability ඔයාම හදාගන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක, right? එතකොට what are the income you might have, right? What are the income sources you might have? So mainly anyone, because most of you are working, right? Then your main primary income source should be what? Your primary income source should be your employment income. So as per the Inland Revenue Act, we have four sources, right? As per the Inland Revenue Act, we have mainly four sources as individual, because if it is company, we have three sources. But when it's come to individual, we have four sources of income. You, we are assuming you as resident individual. Most of you are resident, even non-resident, they have to pay tax as well. But here, resident individual, let's say, if you doing a job, we call employment income, right? Right? Then can we take employment income as it is for tax purpose? No, right? We have to do some certain adjustment, because our company, if you are getting more than 100,000, මාසෙකට ලක්ෂයකට වඩා වැඩියෙන් ගන්නවා නම්, ඉතින් කම්පැනි අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඔයාගේ ටැක්ස් එක ඩිඩක්ට් කරලා ඇත්තේ මේ වෙනකොට, right? එතකොට මේකට එයාලා කන්සිඩර් කරනවා cash benefit සහ non cash benefit. They will consider cash benefit and non cash benefit. සල්ලි වලින් හම්බෙන salary, bonus, right? Allowances අරුණාම, cash benefit අරුණාම non cash benefit consider කරනවා. Cash benefit and non cash benefit. Both they will consider. After considering all these things, we can say accessible income from employment, right? So if you have employment, then with the recent law amendment, definitely you will get the T10 certificate from the company, right? May employment income එක ඔයාට මේ අවුරුද්දේ කීයද කියලා, right? How much your employment income, which will divide into cash and non-cash. They will disclose in the T10 certificate, right? මේකට ඔයාට හම්බෙනවා cash benefit කොච්චරයිද, non-cash benefit කොච්චරයිද. ඊට පස්සේ ඒකට අදාළව tax කොච්චරක් deduct කරාද, income tax ඔයාගේ salary එකෙන් කොච්චරක් deduct කරාද කියලා certificate එක. අපි ඒකට කියනවා, we call it as T10 certificate, right? T10 certificate, or the short name we call, latest updated name is Advanced Personal Income Tax Certificate. Advanced Personal Income Tax Certificate. ඔයාට මේක හම්බෙන්න ඕන, right? මේක හම්බෙන්න ඕන හැම year of assessment එකකදම employer must issue this certificate, right? For the year of assessment 22-23 as well. If you are getting salary more than 100,000, ලක්ෂයට වඩා වැඩි නම් ඔයාට මේ certificate එක ලැබිලා ඇති. මොකද පළවෙනි මාස 9 ඔයාට tax නැති වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, මොකද previously threshold was 250,000, right? Previous threshold was 250,000, right? A latest threshold එක තමයි ලක්ෂයකරේ, right? ලක්ෂයකරේ with effective from 1st January 2023 onward. I can't hear, right? How about others? Am I audible enough? මාව ඇහෙනවද අනිත් අයට? You may be join again using the same link, or you may be check your internet connection. Maybe there's a heavy rain going on anyway. We'll see. Maybe you can rejoin again, log out and log in again, right? So employment income එක clear, right? Hope it's clear to everyone, right? So employment income slide the presentation slide I will later discuss further, because if you have some doubt on this year of assessment, let me clarify that. So employment income gattama. So 9 months this year we have two different loans. The first 9 months and then the second 3 months, right? So 9 months and 3 months, because this is 9 months, we have up to 31st December 2022, right? Then starting from 1st April 2022 to 31st December, right? 31st December, the fall first 9 months, right? Then the last 3 months starting from 1st Jan 2023 to, right? 3 to 31st March 2023, right? These are the two different law. Because of we have two different law with the recent amendment to the Inland Revenue Act, we have two type of taxes, right? We have to do a tax computation for two periods separately, right? In a two column maybe, right? We'll discuss that how to compute. So the relief or again company tax deduct based on your personal relief. Company tax deduct කරන්නේ ඔයාගේ personal relief එක මත. අනිත් relief consider කරන්නේ. They will not consider other relief, right? They will not consider other relief, only the personal relief. Then personal relief for annum previous law, under the previous law, how much personal relief was 3 million, right? 3 million. එතකොට මේක if you divided by 12 මාසෙකට කීයද? මේක 12න් බෙදුවා. Then මාසෙකට personal relief එක 250. Then how many months for this year the previous law applicable? Only 9 months, right? Then the personal relief applicable for first 9 months would be 2,250,000 if you multiply by 9. So the personal relief applicable under the latest amendment, right? How much? අලුත් law එක අනුව personal relief එක කීයද? අලුත් law එක අනුව, if you take the latest amendment, right? It says personal relief is 1.2 million. If you divide it by 12, මාසෙකට කීයද? Per month 100,000. Then if you are getting more than 100,000, definitely company must deduct advanced personal income tax, call it, right? ඔයා ලක්ෂයකට වඩා මාසෙකට ගන්නවා නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම කම්පැනිය ඩිඩක්ට් කරනවා. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම කම්පැනි ඩිඩක්ට් කරනවා ඇපිට් එක, right? එතකොට මේ මාස 3ට රිලීෆ් එක බැලුවොත් මාස 3ට රිලීෆ් එක ඔයාලා තියෙනවා ලක්ෂ 3ක්. ඒක තමයි අවුරුද්ද. එතකොට full relief එක වෙන්නේ. For the full relief for entire year would be these two, right? We need to consider these two for full year, which is, what is the year? Year of assessment 22-23, right? Hope this is clear to everyone, right? full relief එක ඔයාලා දන්නවා මේ අවුරුද්දට කීයද කියලා, right? Person relief. So I'm coming back to again to the sources, right? I will quickly discuss other sources as well, right? One other sources can explain because anyway I'm just little going deep, right? When because most of you have salary, right? All හැමෝටම salary තියෙන නිසා මම salary එක discuss කරා පොඩ්ඩක් වැඩිපුර, right? Here one more thing, ඔයාට ලක්ෂයට වඩා වැඩි නම් එතකොට then definitely company will issue a APIT certificate, advanced personal income tax, in short T10 certificate. You can get it from the company, they will issue, right? Then by including your all income relating to employment, maybe cash benefit how much, non-cash benefit how much, right? Total benefit how much they have deducted as APIT, right? how much they have paid to the Inland Revenue Department, right? IRD, paid to Inland Revenue Department. The format also available in the web, right? If your employer is unable to find it, you can share it. I will share with you, right? If you are unable to find, let me know. I will share with you, right? The APIT certificate, you need to have it when you are filing the income tax return. Or income tax return file karanaකොට, you have to attach it as a supporting document, right? Then what are the other things? If you are doing a business, right? If you are doing a business, right? You might have business income, right? Can we take business income as it is for tax purpose? No. We have to do some adjustment. We are not taking accounting profit as it is for tax purpose, right? අපි accounting profit එක එහෙමම ගන්න tax එකට. accounting profit එක 100යි නම් 100 කියලාම ගන්න tax එකට, right? We are not taking the accounting profit 100 as it is for tax purpose. We have to do some adjustment. Allowable, disallowable adjustment. සමහර expenses ඉඩ දෙනවා අඩු කරන්න tax වල, සමහර වියදම් ඉඩ දෙන්නේ නැහැ, right? Accountant deduct කරන්න පුළුවන් donation, entertainment, වියදම් විදියට. But tax purpose ඒව deduct කරන්න ඉඩ දෙන්නේ නැහැ. So therefore, there are some adjustments we'll discuss briefly when we are doing the calculation, right? Then after converting these things, we call it as assessable income from business, right? If you have investment, yes, we need to take it. We call assessable income from investment. Then what are the investment? Maybe if you are having FDs, interest, right? Dividend, those things we'll discuss in this session, right? Then rent income, right? Rent income or royalty, any other passive income, right? And maybe capital gain, right? Capital gain also will come. Winning from lottery එකක් win කරා, winning from lottery. Those things also coming under investment, right? Anything you can't categorize under above 3, we call other income, accessible income from other, right? ඔය තුනට එන්නේ නැත්නම් අපි කියන other income, right? මේ sources 4 තමයි තියෙන්නේ, right? You will have these 4 sources as an individual, right? What are the sources? First one is employment, then the second one is business, right? So here you will have employment, business, investment, and other, right? Then you can deduct some deductions. What are the deductions, right? What are the deduction? You can deduct rent relief if you have rent income. These things I will discuss while doing the computation, right? මේ rent relief එක මොකක්ද කියන එක මම කතා කරනවා. This is given for as a deduction for repair and maintenance. ඔයාට rent එකට rent income එකක් තියෙනවා නම් ඔයාට ඒකට අදාළ repair and maintenance වලට දෙනවා 125ක් අඩු කරන්න වියදමක් විදිහට. එතකොට ඔයා ගන්න අපි තුමු ලක්ෂයක් ගත්ත කියලා නැත්නම් let's say 100 million, right? You can deduct 25 million out of that. Only taxable is 75, right? If you are getting 100 million, then you can deduct 25 million as a repair and maintenance, right? Under rent relief, you are subject to pay tax only the balance 75 million, right? So when it comes to, there is other relief, right? If you are having solar, right? If you are install solar panel to your premises, right? If it is fixed to your premises by way of taking bank loan, or if you are incurring the cost, that doesn't matter, right? You can deduct 600 or ලක්ෂ 6ක් අඩු කරන්න පුළුවන් per year maximum, right? Per year maximum. It is subject to the cost, right? Let's say you have incurred 1.5 million, right? 1.5 million rupees in thousand, right? Or 1.5 million in Kakarana, right? You can deduct 600 for this year, right? It is subject to, you can't deduct if it is not connected to the national grid. ජාතික විදුලි පද්ධතියට or connect කරලා තියෙනවා. It is very important, right? Then only you can deduct 600 as other relief, right? Other relief you can deduct, right? Then this is available during entire year, right? This is also available. Make out the number. We'll discuss when we are doing the computation, right? When we are doing the computation. අපි කතා කරමු. Right? Then personal relief. Personal relief මම කතා කරා 1.2 million with effective from 1st January 23 onward. Cannot deduct against capital gain. Capital gain තියුණ කියලා මේකෙන් අඩු කරන්න බෑ. Capital gain එක වෙනම subject to tax, right? Then the capital gain ගැන කතා කරත් individual ලගේ capital gain tax rate එක 10%යි. හැබැයි ඔයා ඉන්න house එක විකුණන. If you are selling your principal place of residence, right? If you own consecutive 3 years and if you have occupied at least out of 3 years, 2 years, if you occupied, it is exempt, right? අවුරුදු 3ක් ඔයා ownership එක තියෙන්න ඕන. 3න් අවුරුදු 2ක්වත් ඔයාට අයිති ඔයා ඉඳලා තියෙන්න ඕන. ජීවත් වෙලා තියෙන්න ඕන. දැන් සමහර ගත්තොත් right? දැන් ගෙවල් අරගෙන අනිත් පැත්තට විකුණනවා business එක purpose. මෙයාගෙන් 10 million වලට ගන්නවා අනිත් එක්කෙනාට තව මාසෙකින් දෙකකින් 20 million වලට විකුණනවා. right? එතකොට capital gain liable. ගෙදරක් වුණා. right? Principal place of residence is exempt for capital gain tax. Right? Capital gain tax is exempt. Principal place of residence. You need to prove that you have been there 2 years, right? And you have the ownership at least minimum 3 years, right? අවුරුදු 3ක් අයිතිය තියෙන්න ඕන. ඒ අවුරුදු 3 ඇතුළත අවුරුදු 2ක් ownership එක තිබිලා තියෙනවා. Capital gain tax. ඒකත් සමහර අය අහන ප්‍රශ්නයක් exemption එක ගන්න year 3. Then you need to have ownership for 3 years. Ownership. You need to have ownership. Then out of that 3 year, at least you need to stay minimum 2 years. Somewhere on this way, or maybe in this way, or either case, right? Even in between, right? 2 years, right? If you reside or occupy, right? Or lived at least 2 years, right? If you live, then the first condition ownership 3 years, right? Then lived, නැත්නම් occupied 2 years, then your principal place of residence is exempt. Right? Then capital gain liable වෙන්නේ තව මොනවද? If you are selling listed listed shares now, if it is listed in Colombo Stock Exchange, exempt. Sale of shares exempt if it is listed. Or private company के shares විකුණනවා නම් ඒක liable, right? Right. And land, building, even this subject to tax if you are keeping those things as investment properties, right? Not the business asset. Business එකට ගත්ත land එකක් business එකට තමයි tax වෙන්නේ. Normal business rate එක. Right? Business purpose. So I just went through with this more detail on capital gain tax, right? So we'll coming back to again here, right? Personal relief we discuss 100,000 per month, right? Then the latest one, right? Then up to 31st December we had 250,000 per month. First 9 months then would be 2.2 million. This one also we discussed in detail in here, employment relief, this one, right? So therefore I will not touch again in this same, right? So first 9 months, how we take 250 into 9, 2.25 million, here 300,000, right? It's clear. Personal relief. What are the relief? Then we discuss personal relief, rent relief, other relief, and personal relief. Then expenditure relief. Expenditure relief which is applicable for only first 9 months. මුල් මාස 9ට විතරයි apply වෙන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ ඉඳන් no expenditure ready apply වෙන්නේ. Then how much? Maximum they allocated 1.2 million per year of assessment. However, we have only 9 months now. With the latest change, they have removed the expenditure relief. දැන් අලුතෙන් expenditure relief එක remove කරා 23 ජනවාරි ඉඳලා. එතකොට expenditure relief නැහැ. හැබැයි කලින් මාස 9ට දෙනවා. Then subject to this criteria, right? If you are incurring expenses on medical expenses, right? Medical expenditure and medical insurance even. OPD bill උනත් claim කරන්න පුළුවන්. You need to have supporting, right? To prove that it is belong to you, right? Then vocational education expenses, right? Educational expenditure, very important, it's local. මේ මුල් මාස 9ට විතරයි claim කරන්න පුළුවන්. 9 months වලට විතරයි. කොච්චරක්ද claim කරන්න පුළුවන්? You can claim only up to 900,000. ලක්ෂ 9යි claim කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Locally, education. Foreign MBAs, foreign educational courses, professional courses, you can't deduct. Only the local one, right? Individual or his children even you can deduct. Local school fee given international name, local one, right? If it is based on locally, that's fine, right? Then interest paid on housing loan. Or housing loan එකට interest ගන්නවා. මේක දැන් සමහරව try කරනවා දැන් වෙන loans, personal loans වලට අරගෙන අප්තු ඒවයි deduct කරන්න බෑ. Interest paid on housing loan. Then you know housing loan, when we are taking the housing loan, you need to provide building plan, all these related document and deed and everything, right? So plan of the house and everything, and get the approval from the bank, and you need to have that document, right, to prove that you have taken housing loan. Otherwise, personal loan, car loan, any other loan can't deduct those interests, right? Then contribution made by an employee for any local pension scheme. If you have some pension scheme, some insurance company also they have some type of arrangement. If it is so, you can deduct, right? Right? Expenditure incurred for the purpose of purchasing shares, all is which is listed in Columbus Stock Exchange, purchase of shares, treasury bill, treasury bond investment. Then related expenditure, including the cost, you can deduct, right? But here again, only up to the 900,000. ලක්ෂ 9 deduct කරන්න. Because it is applicable only for the first 9 months, right? Anyway, we'll discuss in the Excel, right? When we are doing the calculation. Here, the summary of KM table on individual, right? Relief, right? Citizens and residents are entitled to rent relief, expenditure relief, right? Other relief and person relief. Rent relief is 25, right? Percent of the rent income, gross rent. Expenditure relief for the first 9 months, 900,000. Other relief, 600 per annum. Person relief, first 9 months, 2.25 million. For the last 3 months, 300,000, right? The individual, resident individual can hit up. If you are a citizen, you will enjoy all benefits, right? When it's come to non-resident, you will get rent relief and person relief since you are citizen, right? Then expenditure relief and other relief, you are not entitled, right? If you are non-resident, the citizen Lankawe or Venratakin, right? Then you will not entitled. So when it's come to non-citizen, if they are resident, they will entitled for all, right? Then if you are non-citizen, and as well as non-citizen, they will entitled for only for the rent relief. All other relief will not applicable, right? Then what are the deductions? අපි accessible income එක හැදුවට පස්සේ deductions මොනවද කියලා, right? You can deduct some deduction after calculating accessible income. Let me then before moving to qualifying payment, right? I will come to Excel after finishing this one, right? The tute is here. Others are available in the tute, right? Right. Donation. If you take donation made to approved charity, right? You can deduct, right? It should be in money, right? You can deduct. It should be in money form. සල්ලි වලින් දීපු donation වලට අඩු කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක approved charity now, right? You have to make sure it is approved an approved charity. Donation made to an approved charity, right? You can deduct one third of the taxable income or actual, whichever is lower, right? This one also will discuss while we are discussing the calculation, right? මෙතන explain කරන්න ගියොත් අපි අතනක් ගාන හදද්දී explain කරන්න නිසා මම type එක skip කරනවා, right? Donation made in money or otherwise, right? To government. Government එකට donation සල්ලි වලින් දුන්නා නැත්නම් goods විදියට දුන්නා. hospital එකකට ඇඳාම් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, right? Even goods you can donate to government or specified institution, means universities, අපි වෙනුවෙන් අපි fund, national kidney fund, right? Seven fund, right? ඒ වගේ specified institution තියෙනවා. ඒවට donate කරනවා නම් you can deduct any amount, no limit, right? And again, if you donate excess than your assessable income, you can't carry it forward. Anyway, කවුරුවත් ඉතින් donate කරන්නේ නැහැ නේ ඔයගේ assessable income එකට වඩා, right? Then donation made to establish a shop for a lady who is from some of the beneficiary family, and Department of Samudri this also need to certify. You can deduct that one as a deduction. And if you incurred any expenditure on in the production of film, it is right. It is also more than 5 million. And construction and equipment for new cinema, right? Upgrading cinema, right? 10 million. However, it's also whatever the big amount is there, right? You can deduct only one third of taxable income or actual, whichever is low. The one third of taxable income that or taxable income එක 3 million now. Let's say I can donate 1 million තමයි අඩු කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? If you donate, let's say 10 million, you can deduct only 1 million. We'll discuss these things also with this example, right? Tax slabs. Make a අවුරුද්ද මේක, right? For the full year slab was like this in the previous years. This is also I given with effective from 1st January 2023 onward. This is the full year slab. Because most of it, they are wondering why this full year applicable when it's come to 9 months, how it's different, right? මේ 3 million එක full year එක වුණාට මේක 9 months වලට ගන්නකොට when we convert it into 9 months, 3 million divided by 12 multiplied by 9. That's how, right? ඔයාලට හදලා බලන්න පුළුවන් මේ 3 million එක කොහොමද 2.25 උනේ කියලා 9 months. එතකොට ඔයාලා බලන්න 3 million 12න් බෙදලා 9න් වැඩි කරලා, right? ඔයාලට එතකොට A මේ උත්තරේ, right? Right? එතකොට if we take first slab is for 9 months 2.25 million means 6%. Second 2.25 million into 12%. Balance, if there are any balance, 18%. The individual, those who are having capital gain, it is subject to tax at the rate of 10%, right? Subject to tax at the rate of 10%.
Recording in progress. Recording in progress. Recording in progress.
Right. right, yes. Right, sorry. Here, if you come to last 3 months, if you come to last 3 months, 500,000 was the full year with effective from 1st January applicable tax slab. However, you have to convert this one into 3 month slabs, right? 500 divided by 12 multiplied by 3, right? 512 බෙදලා 3ෙන් වැඩි කරොත්, right? නැත්තම් 4ෙන් එකක්, right? මේකේ 4ෙන් 3ක්, මේකේ 4ෙන් එකක්, right? You will get these slabs, right? Then 9 months you have to apply this slab, and 3 months you have to apply this slab. So this one I will do the computation, and it is there in the calculation, right? How we can apply these things, right? How we can apply these things, I will share with the figures, right? Then you need to pay income tax if it is individual to the Commissioner General of Inland Revenue as income tax. You have for quarterly installment and final payment. Then quarterly installment we have already paid, right? So when it's come to 22, 23 here, this is the detail which is applicable, right? These are 23, 24 years. Let me change it to 23, 22, 23, right? So if we change it to 23, 22, 23, then the first quarter payment is due on August 15, right? First quarter payment එක ගෙවන්න 5 කරන්න ඕන August, payment එක submit කරන්න ඕන August 15, right? Second quarter November 15, third quarter February 15, and fourth quarter May 15, and final payment also you have already paid 30th September, right? Then tax type is 05. If you are making the payment, you need to include this tax type. Then the return, you have to file a return annually, which is due on November 30th. Now you are hurried to submit the return. You need to be ready your computation, right? That's why you are here. You need to compute your final tax liability, right? Then I hope all of you already submitted set form, a statement of estimate tax payable, which is right, which was due on 15th August 2022. මේ පළවෙනි කාඩ් එක ෆයිල් කරන payment එක කරන දවසේම ඔයා set එක දෙන්න. Set එක කියන්නේ estimate එකක් මේ අවුරුද්දේ මම tax ගෙවන්නේ මෙහිමයි කියලා. Let's say your estimate tax liability is 100 divided by 4. Your estimate tax liability is 100, you divided by 4. Each quarter you will pay 25. Each quarter you will pay 25. Right? Likewise, you will, right? Then if there any balance when it's come to actual එක 120ක් වුණා, quarter 4ට 100ක් ගෙවුවා, balance එක 20ක් ඉතුරු වුණා. ඒ balance එක තමයි මේකට කියන්නේ final payment. Final payment එකක් තියෙනවා නම්, if there any final payment balance payable, you need to pay 30th September. Then final payment එකක් පස්සේ දැන් මොනවත් ගෙවන්න බෑ. දැන් ගෙවුවොත් penalty. ගෙවනවා නම් penalty applicable වෙනවා. Then this set form, I hope all of you have submitted, right? August 15, right? 2020. Then if you want to revise, you can subsequently revise any subsequent quarters. When or estimate කරපු 100 නෙවෙයි 80 වුණා කියලා. 80 නම් revise කරලා submit කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? So payment penalty, if you not paid installment tax on due dates, right? Again, you will get additional 14 days to make the payment. Then the penalty, if you not paid even addition within the additional 14 days. ඒ කියන්නේ පළවෙනි payment එක due වුණේ අගෝස්තු 15. ඔයාලට තව දවස් 14ක් දෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ අගෝස්තු 29 වෙනකන් කල් දෙනවා. එහෙමත් ගෙවුවේ නැත්නම් 10% penalty. However, penalty they will charge 1 point, interest they will charge 1.5. Interest එක due date එකෙන් පස්සේ ඉඳලා අගෝස්තු 15 ඉඳලම වදිනවා, right? This one also I discussed in the previous webinar, right? How the penalty and things. Then let's say your first quarter 1 payment is due on somewhere in the second quarter, no? Right? It's due on August 15th, right? Atai Pahalo. The first quarter payment due on, right? Then statutory, you will get additional 14 days. That means you will get additional 14 days to make the payment without penalty. Additional 14 days, then you will get August 29th time due. Then zero penalty. Zero penalty. Right? Zero penalty. You can make the payment even up to this date. Right? August 29 වෙනකන් ඔයාලට ගෙවන්න පුළුවන් penalty නැතුව. However, they will charge interest 1.5. Penalty 0, interest එකක් පොලියක් ගන්න. tax එක එකට දඩ විතරක් නෙවෙයි දඩ පොලිත් ගන්න. Right? Here penalty 0 if you paid during this period, right? If you paid during this period, no penalty, but interest is there. It's compounding, computed monthly, right? ඊට පස්සේ ගෙවුවේ නැත්. If you not paid further, right? If you not pay, right? After that, the penalty 10% applicable, right? This penalty applicable. If you paid somewhere here, the penalty 10% applicable, right? And assessment tax penalty is 20%, which is applicable for final payment. Final payment is 30th September. If you not paid final payment, if there any balance, 20% penalty, right? 20% penalty. Again, 30th September ඉඳලා තව දවස් 14ක් තියෙනවා. Then 30th September ඉඳලා October 14 වෙනකන් time එක තිබුණා. දැන් නැහැ time එක ඉවරයි. October 14 at least 13 වෙනකන් ගෙවුණා chance එකක් තියෙනවා. දැන් October 22 දැන් ගෙවුවොත් penalty තියෙනවා final payment එකට 20%. Or else you can make it as fourth quarter payment, then you can reduce to 10%, but interest component is there. Interest, yeah, right? Return file. If you not submit your income tax return, right? If you not submitted your income tax return, then there is a penalty as well. Or ආදායම් බදු වලට register වුණා නම්, if you register, you as an individual, you have registered, you have a tax file, right? You registered, right? But then if you registered, you must submit individual income tax return. Or individual income tax return එක අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම submit කරන්න ඕන, right? Or registered now, if you register, right? Then it is due 30th November 2023 for the year of assessment 22-23, right? Then if you have, let's say, tax liability, let's say you have 100,000, right? 100,000 you not paid, not submitted on this date, or returning a file කරන්නේ නැහැ, right? Then they will impose penalty. It says 5% of the tax liability, tax owing. Further 1% of the tax owing each month or part there. Or return එක November 30 file කරන්න නැහැ. අපි හිතමු මේ year එක අදාළව or due date එක තියුනේ November 30th November for this year 22-23 year of assessment. The return was due on this date, right? You not submitted, right? You wait, right? You disregard the return is not important, right? What they can do, like thinking like that, right? You not submitted, right? Then they will, let's say your tax liability or the tax payment එකකුත් තියෙනවා ලක්ෂයක් ගෙවන්න ඕනේ කියලා. ලක්ෂයක් කියලා හිතන්න. ඔයාගේ tax liability එක, right? Your tax liability is 100,000. But, right? You have paid also. Let's say ඔයා ගෙවලා තියෙනවා salary එකට තමයි මේ ලක්ෂය වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒකත් ගෙවලා තියෙනවා. Right? හැබැයි return එක file කරන්නේ return එක you are not submitting the return, right? Then penalty would be 5% of the tax liability, right? Let's say 5% of the tax liability immediate delay. Then would be how much, right? 5,000, right? Further 1% of the tax liability, any balance. Let's say you haven't submitted return till the first month, 30th, 31st December, not submitted, right? You wait another month, 31st January of the subsequent year, 2024, right? February also, you wait, right? 28th February, right? 2020. You submitted somewhere in March. March 15, you submitted the return. Let's say, මෙහෙම මාස ගානක් ඉඳලා මෙන්න මෙදා හිතිලා කවුරු හරි කියලා submit කරනවා, right? අපි හිතමු 15 March 15, 2024. March file කරන්න. එහෙනම් ඔයාගේ liability එක මත tax එකත් එක්ක penalty return එකට tax payment එක විතරක් කරලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ, නිකන් ඉන්න බෑ, return එකත් file කරන්න ඕනේ. Then you will get penalty how? The first month 5%, second month 1%, 1%, even part of the month 1%, right? Here 1%, right? 1,000. Here, this is for December, this is for January, this is for February, this is for March. Right? Further 1%. Part එකක් වුණත් මාස භාගයකින් return එක file කරත් කමක් නැහැ. 8 penalty එනවා. Altogether your penalty would be 8,000. Right? 8,000. Plus, not only that, මේ penalty විතරක් නෙවෙයි, තව තියෙනවා. Right? 50,000 and part thereof, and 50,000 and part thereof. Right? 50,000 and part thereof. මේ දෙක විතරක් නෙවෙයි. ඊළඟට මේ විදියටම 50,000 ගානෙන් ගෙවන්න. 50,000 සහ 10,000. Right? The same months. You have to pay like this. Not only this, including 8,000 plus, right? 8,000 plus, you have to pay for December 50,000. For January 10,000. February 10,000. March also part here, part 10,000 for part of the month, right? Here 10,000. Altogether 80,000. Then total penalty would be how much? Can someone tell me? Text. You can just chat option, right? How much? Total penalty here. Total penalty would be how much? Yes, 88,000. Super. Right? Total penalty would be 88,000. Then your tax එකත් ගෙවලා නැති වුණා නම් tax එකත් ගෙවලා නැහැ කියලා හිතන්න. එතකොට ඊළඟට ලක්ෂයකුත් ගෙවන්න ඕනේ. 1,88,000 ගෙවන්න ඕනේ. tax සහ penalty. Right? penalty මොකද return එක file කරන්නේ නැති වුණා. Right? හැබැයි maximum penalty limit එකක් තියෙනවා. 88,000 නෙමෙයි. 88,000 නම් ගෙවන්න වෙනවා. However, this penalty, there is a maximum penalty. Maximum penalty කීයද? Right? Maximum penalty IRD can impose 100,000, 400,000. ලක්ෂ 4යි. ලක්ෂ 4ට වඩා penalty දාන්න බෑ. ඉතින් return එක file නොකර දිගටම ගියොත් මේ 10 ගානේ දිගටම compute වෙලා ඉස්සරහට මෙහෙම ලක්ෂ 4කම යයි. right? එහෙම ලක්ෂ 4ක් අතේ තියාගෙන file නොකර ඉන්න පුළුවන්. right? Right? There is a section if you are physically, if you are having any ICU, and if you are in considerable circumstances or sickness, or you are in abroad, you are unable to file the return somewhere in critical illness or something like that, you can convince the Commissioner General and request additional time. Otherwise, you have to submit, right? Right. I hope you are familiar with now theory. We'll do the uh, calculation part, right? Then how these things we can apply to the computation, right? I will go ahead with one by one, right? A sample tax computation, right? You can prepare your own one. This is my format. This is my business one, right? This is this format will not be shared. If you want, you have to pay for this. Then anyway, I will share the slides, right, with you, right? This format you need to remember. You can redevelop by your own way, right? Because this is prepared in order to capture everything. But there are most of individual here also. They will have only salary. Sometime only the salary and investment income. දැන් පළවෙනි එකේ සිනාරියෝ එකේ මම ගන්න salary විතරක් තියෙන කෙනෙක්ගේ, right? If you are working, let's say XYZ company, right? You will have salary, no, right? You will have salary. Then let's say for 9 months and 3 months, you need to take separately. Then anyway, the company, yeah, you will get, let's say your 9 month salary is this much. I will delete these things and let's say based on your T10 certificate. or මේක ගන්න ඕන අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම T10 එකේ තියෙන විදිය. Right? T10 certificate based on your T10 certificate, or we can say advanced personal income tax certificate. Based on your advanced personal income tax certificate, you can prepare this, right? You have to take the figures because this salary එකට අනිවාර්යෙන්ම for this salary you need to provide T10 certificate to the Internal Revenue Department, right? You have to submit this. Therefore, you need to comply with this, right? Based on the T10 certificate. Let's say you are getting salary 300,000 per month. ලක්ෂ 3ක් මාසෙට ගන්නවා කියලා, right? With other benefits and all. Then for 9 months, based on the T10, you will get this. For balance 3 months, based on T10, you will get this, right? For 9 months also, you include 3 months. Then the tax company deducted tax also, they are in the T10 certificate. අපි randomly කියමු, right? 60,000 you have paid කියලා, company deduct කරලා pay කරා කියලා, right? Let's say 120,000. 1,20,000 වගේ salary එකෙන් company deduct කරලා කියලා තියෙනවා. මේ ටික ගත්තේ ඔයාගේ T10 certificate එකෙන්. These things we have taken on T10 certificate. Don't look at the other things, all these things. If you have salary, we'll take the salary on, right? Then, right, here you don't have other income, right? You don't have final withholding. You don't have business, right? You have to include your salary detail. First 9 months, I just take in the first 9 months. Employment income only. Employment income. You don't have business, you don't have investment, you don't have other. Right? 3 months, itaw column එකක් දාන්න. You can include another column. Right? 9 months and 3 months. Right? Then this. Then what are the relief applicable? Relief ටික විතරක් මොනවද බලමු. Rent relief. Do you have rent relief? No. Because rent income නෑනේ. Right? Rent income තියෙනවා නම් තමයි rent relief. Right? Then expenditure relief. Yes, you might have some expenditure. Right? What are the expenditure you can get? For 9. Rent relief you don't have. Right? This is a breakup. This note, this is breakup of the relief. Right? Rent relief, you don't have rent income, therefore you don't have rent relief. Rent income තියෙනවා නම් විතරයි rent relief එන්නේ නැත්තම් නෑ, right? Then it come to expenditure relief. When it comes to expenditure relief, then medical. ඔයාට medical තියෙනවා. අපි හිතමු මේ ටිකත් මම delete කරලා අලුතෙන්ම දාන්න. ඔයාට medical තියෙනවා. let's say 200 bills තියෙනවා. insurance එකක් තියෙනවා අවුරුද්දට ගෙවපු. medical insurance 200,000. Right? Local education expenses, you did some MBA or something like that, or school children fees of your children, right? 350, right? You pay housing loan, interest, you have housing loan, interest component, 500, right? 500, right? 500. Let's say this one will reduce to 50,000 housing loan interest. This one will increase to 550. Right? Altogether, you have 1 million expenditure. However, maximum allowed 900,000. 900,000. ලක්ෂ 9 දෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මාසෙකට ලක්ෂය ගන්න ලක්ෂ 9 මාස 9. Because you are doing for 9 months. For 3 months, you don't have expenditure relief. Only for the 9 months, you have expenditure relief. Total relief applicable for entire year would be 900 only under expenditure relief. Then this one connecting to here. 900 for first 3 months. Sorry, first 9 months. මුල් මාස 9ට ලක්ෂ 9 විතරයි. ඊළඟ මාස ටිකට නැහැ මොකද ලෝ එක නැති නිසා. Right? Because you don't have that law. Then solar relief. Right? ඔයා ගෙදර solar panel එකක් හයි කරලා තියෙනවා. If it is fixes your premises, you can deduct. Right? Solar, you can deduct any period either in this first 9 months or last 3 months. මොකද last 3 months එකට ගන්න එක හොඳයි. ඔයාට අවුරුද්දේ කවදා හරි let's say you incurred in somewhere in April, May, June, July, the first 9-month period. මේ මුල් මාස 9 ඇතුළත ඔයා solar වලට වියදම්. Even you can take in the second half. මොකද second half ගන්න එක හොඳයි. Let's say you incurred 1.5 million, you can deduct. Let's say you have incurred 1.5 million. Right? Then this year of assessment 22, 23, you can deduct 600. 600. Here 1.5 million, you can deduct 6. Then the balance, you need to have a track record balance, you can carry it forward to next year. Right? The next year is year of assessment 23, 24. You can get the balance again up to 600. Then again, you have a remaining balance 300, you can carry it forward. Likewise, for this year, let's say you have 600. For this year 600, you can claim under first period or the second period. ඔයාගේ period දෙකෙන් කැමති එකකට ගන්න පුළුවන්. මම මේක first period එකේ දාලා පස්සේ මම ඒක second period එකට මාරු කරනවා. මම ඒක පෙන්නන්න. Let's say you are taking in the let's say first period. හැබැයි first period එකට ගන්නට වඩා second period එකට ගන්න අපිට දෙනවා IRD එකෙන් option එක. You can take it in the second period as well, because second period, if you just compare the tax rates, බලන්න 6 ඉඳලා 6 යනකම් යනවා. පොඩි ස්ලැබ් තියෙන 1,25,000. ඒක නිසා අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඔයාට ඒක නිසා මේකේ මේ රිලීෆ් එක මේ ගන්න තරමට හොඳයි in the second period, right? It is better to take it second period. Then this is for the first 9 months. First 9 months, you have personal relief this much, right? How we have taken this 3 million divided by, right? How we have arrived this 3 million divided by 12 multiplied by 9, right? So here, how much you have for annual 1.2 million divided by 12 multiplied by 3. These reliefs are there, right? Then this relief also we can connect it to this here. Here expenditure relief, right? For expenditure relief and expenditure relief and This solar relief I will delete for to explain one thing, right? ඔයාලා relief මුකුත් නැහැ කියලා හිතන්න. ඔයාලට salary එක තියෙනවා. employment income එක තියෙනවා. employment income එක තියෙනවා. ඒකට අදාළව relief ටික තියෙනවා. Right? Then if you don't have any other qualifying payment or any other deduction, right? Any other deductions, right? Let's say you don't have any, here also you don't have any other qualifying payment, let's say. සුදුසුකම් ලැබෙන ගෙවීම් මුකුත් නැහැ කියලා හිතමු. You don't have any other qualifying payment. Then you will get tax 27,000, right? Here 132. මුකුත් නැත්තම්. මොකද salary එකට you will get this, right? And then or the taxes they paid under T10 certificate is 120, right? You don't have, let's say, other interest income or any other things, right? Let's say you don't have T10 years taken. You don't have any interest income here. You don't have quarterly payment, right? This T10, whatever the taxes paid, should be equal to this, right? Or at a mukudmana salary එක විතරක් තියනවා කියලා හිතන්න, right? මුකුත්ම relief නැහැ කියලා, right? salary එක විතරයි ඒක දැම්මා. ඔන්න වෙන කිසිම benefit එකක් නැහැ. You don't have relief, you don't have expenditure relief to claim. You don't have solar relief to claim. You have only the personal relief, right? You don't have qualifying payment. Donation කරන්න සල්ලි නැහැ, right? You don't have donations to approved charity, donation to government, donation to film industry, some of the beneficiary family, no. Quarterly payments අපි කියමු කරලා නැහැ. quarterly කරන්න business එකක් තියෙනවා නම්, right? You don't have only the salary, right? Salary. Then you will include the salary here. You will deduct qualifying payment, personal relief here, right? You will compute like this. මෙතන එන්නේ first 450,000 into 6%. I 450 එන්නේ because it is lower than 2.25 million. මොකද slab එකේ අපි කතා කරා slide එකේ කොහොමද tax slab යන්නේ කියලා. right? Here first 2.25 million, 2,250,000 into 6%. හැබැයි ඉච්චර යන්නෙත් නෑ මෙයාගේ. මොකද ලක්ෂ 450,000 තමයි තියෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් ඒක එන්නේ. මොකද maximum 2.25 million 6%, right? Then here. Then balance මෙතන තියෙනවා 9 month period එකේ බලන්න පළවෙනි period එක ලක්ෂයක 4,50,000ට tax එක 27,000 27,000. මේ ලක්ෂ 6ට tax එක බලන්න 600,000 because 600 how it's come. You have salary for 900,000, 300 is the relief, then 600. 600, how you are going to tax it? First, 125 million into 6%, second 125 this one, third 125 this one, fourth 125 this one. This, because of this function and formula I have given, automatically get the balance only the, then even you can take 125, 125, 125 each. Then if there any balance, you can take 100,000, then 30,000. Altogether 105. 1,05,000. So එකතුව 1,32,000. Right? Make this 132,000 should be equal to the T10 certificate. T10 එකේ තියෙන ගාන දශම ගානක් රුපියල් 1 2 5ක් විතර වෙනස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Almost it is equal. Right? මේ tax එක T10 එකේ තියෙන එකත් එක සමානයි. ඔයා salary විතරක් තියෙන කෙනෙක් නම්. right? ඔයාට salary විතරක් තියෙනවා වෙන මුකුත්ම જાති නැහැ. මේකේ අනිත් තව જાති එක එකම add කරලා පෙන්නන්න. දැන් salary clear නේ. හැමෝටම clearද? salary විතරක් තියෙනවා මෙන්න මේක තමයි scenario. salary දැම්ම then you can take the qualifying personal relief and personal relief අඩු කරාට පස්සේ අපි කියනවා taxable income කියලා. Because here employment income, business, investment, other income, ඒ ටික එකතු කරාම accessible income කියනවා. ඒකෙන් relief ටික අඩු කරාම deducted all relief we call and the relief and qualifying payment අඩු කරාට පස්සේ අපි කියනවා taxable income. tax වෙන බද්දට යටත් ආදායම taxable income. Then first 9 months we had to do a separate calculation. For balance 3 months we had to do a separate calculation. Then we can finally arrive gross tax liability. Then you can deduct credit only whatever the credit you have is only salary tax, advance person income. Right? Then you can take that one. There won't be any payable. Salary විතරක් තියෙන කෙනෙක්ට මුකුත් වෙන payable එකක් නැහැ. හැබැයි salary එක වෙන මොන හරි relief තියෙනවා නම් අපි හිතමු the salary විතරක් තියෙන එක clear ද chat එකේ දාන yes කියලා if it is clear. දැන් ටික ටික complicate කරන්න යන්නේ. Can you raise your hand virtually if it is clear to everyone? Already clear නම් අදස්සන්න virtually. මේම virtually අදස්සන්න පුළුවන් නැත්නම් chat එකේ දාන්න පුළුවන්. Virtually. Here ඔන්න බලන්න මම salary එකත් එක්ක ඔයා මොනවා හරි qualifying payment තව relief එකක් ගන්නවා. personal relief එක විතරක් තියෙනවා නම් salary එකට tax එක සමානයි. If you have expenditure relief, right? Let's assume you have expenditure. ඔයා education expense එකක් තියෙනවා. Right? ඔයාට තියෙනවා let's say you have health insurance. Right? Let's say you have some foreign the local education, not the foreign. Foreign MBA එකට ගෙවපු සල්ලි ගන්න බෑ. Right? Then the housing loan, interest. Then altogether let's say 1.05 million. හැබැයි ඔයාලට ගන්න පුළුවන් 900 විතරයි. ඒක ගත්ත ගමන් මොකද වෙන්නේ? ඔයා tax එක ගෙවට වඩා refund එකක් එන්නේ. මොකද? Because why? Because you are taking the relief. මොකද කම්පැනි දන්නවද මේ relief ගැන? කම්පැනියෙන් ඔයාලා අහනවද ඔයාට health insurance තියෙනවා ඒකට කීයක් ගෙවුවද? salary education වලට කීයක් ගෙවුවද? ඒව අහලා අඩු කරලා හදලා නැහැ tax එක. ඊට වඩා salary එක විතරක් consider කරලා යාලා consider කරන්නේ company they will consider only the employee personal relief. They will consider only the personal relief. Therefore, what happened? Then if you include these things, definitely you will end up with refund process, right? You will end up with refund process, right? You can claim the refund. No harm, right? You can claim the refund from the environment department or the refund department, right? But there is another thing. refund එක කරනකොට refund එක claim කරාට පස්සේ දැන් අලුත් law එකේ then the IRD if it is below 100,000 ලක්ෂයට වඩා අඩු වෙනවා refund එක මාස 3ෙන් දෙන්න ඕන කියලා. Latest amendment, right? If the latest amendment, they need to issue a refund if it is below 100,000 within 3 months, as I can remember, right? So within 3 months, they need to issue a refund, right? Within 3 months. So then, in order to issue a refund within 3 months, they can't do the audit. Subsequently, anyway, they will conduct audit. The refund එකක් තියනවා කියන්නේ කවදක හරි මේකට ඔයාගේ ෆයිල් එකට, right? Refund එකක් තියනවා කියන්නේ they will issue the refund, but IRD will conduct audit. right? ඔයාගේ අනිත් details submit කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන මේක claim කරන්න. right? ඔයාගේ salary slip, bank statement, everything they will check one by one. අනිත් හංගපු sources of income තියෙනවා නම් ඒවා declare වෙයි සමහරවිට. එතකොට මේ refund එක ආපහු ගෙවන්නත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. right? Be mindful if you are claiming the refund. Otherwise, disregard this expenditure and submit as zero pay. Right? That's better advice. Right? If you are claiming the refund, if you are claiming expenditure relief, better if you have any other income. Let's say you have, then second scenario, you have interest income. Let's say you have interest you are getting interest per month 150,000 interest. මාසයකට 1,50,000ක interest එකක්. මාස 9ට first මාස 9ට this much. Right? Here also you are getting 150,000 interest per month. Randomly figures down, right? Then altogether annual interest income would be this much, 1.8 million. අවුරුද්ද. ඒක වාගේ link කරන්න ඕන මෙතන investment income. Right? You can connect this investment income, right? If you have interest, right? You can connect these things, right? You can connect interest income to the tax liability, right? Or interest income එක tax වෙන, right? ඒ interest income එකක් තියෙනවා නම්, if you have interest income significant amount all over amount පොඩි ගන්න. එතකොට ඒකත් එක්ක set off වෙලා යයි, right? Then you will end up with balance payable, right? If you have a small interest, let's say ඔයාලට 15,000යි තියෙන්නේ 1,50,000යි වල නැහැ මාසෙට 15,000 even, right? Then 180,000, right? Then even though you claim the expenditure, there is a refund because you have a small interest component, right? Then what you can do is you can think of whether I am claiming entire this one or claiming only medical and education expenses. Then you can think whether there is a still refund. Then you can remove this one as well, right? Then there is a balance payable 8,550. Right? You can think of whether you are end up with refund and claim the refund from IRD or there is a small payable, right? Then you can reduce the bills, right? You are claiming for insurance, right? Likewise, you can think, right? If you have interest income, you have to consider. I will build a computation a little higher person, right? You have big interest here, right? Then you will have to pay some amounts. Then you are claiming all the expenditures here, education expenses you are claiming. You are claiming housing loan interest, altogether 900 you can claim. Then there is a balance payable, right? Then there's a balance payable, right? Then there's a balance payable 165. ඉතින් මොනවද දැම්මේ? interest එක දැම්මා. අපි expenditure relief ටික දැම්ම මුල් මාස 9. ඒක ගන්න බෑ මේ මාස 9ට. මේ මාස 3ට. You can't transfer this into the last 3 months. Expenditure relief is applicable only for. Then interest එකක් තියෙද්දි මොන විදියට if you have any other deductions like rent relief, you can't deduct, only you need to have rent income. Solar relief, what is solar තියෙන, right? Let's assume you have solar 600 or අඩු කරනවා solar relief 600 from the first month, right? solar එකක් high කරා ඒක අඩු කරා. එතකොට ඔයාලට මොකද වෙන්නේ? මේක 1,29,000යි ගෙවන්න වෙන්නේ solar ඒක නිසා. solar you claim in the first 6 months, first 9 months. මුල් period එක විතරයි ගන්න. first period කියමුකෝ. first period එකේ you claim solar. මං කිව්වා solar එක first period නැතුව ඔයාලට second period එකට ගත්තා නම් හොඳයි කියලා. We'll try to get it second period. මොකද ඒකේ limit එක restriction නැහැ. There is no any restriction to claim in the first period or second period. You can claim either period, right? So if you claim in the second period, then here, see, you will end up with refund, no payment. Second period එක claim කරන එකේ වාසිය තමයි මොකද වාසිය? Then you have to reduce the tax burden, right? You can claim the solar 400 somewhere here, 200 somewhere here. Entire annual is 600, right? Here, then you have to pay only 900. Again, you can reduce it to, you can reduce to further by taking here 450. Here 150. Likewise, I am not going to reduce 0, right? Here it's wasting time, right? You can do your own. Then here a small refund, right? A small refund, right? Then the Let's say here 175. Here 425. 600. Annual is 600. Here only 1,500 payment to the inland revenue. Right? Likewise, you can adjust your relief also. Right? So, but expenditure relief you can't. Right? Interest එකත් එක්ක දැන් තියෙන්නේ අපි දෙකක් කතා කරා. If you have interest, right? If you have interest, yes. If you have interest and employment, right? If you have interest and employment, further we discuss expenditure relief, solar relief, and personal relief. These things also we discuss, right? Employment income and investment income also. Then investment income එකේ තව ටිකක් මම දාන්න, right? If you have rent income, let's say you are getting rent 200 per month, 200,000 per month. Let's say for 9 months you are getting 1.8 million. So balance 3 months 600,000. 200 into 3 months 600. Altogether 2.4 million for full year. If you have rent income, definitely there is a rent relief. You can claim rent relief on this 25 for the first period and the second period also you are entitled. Full relief would be 600, right? Here you can link, it will automatically link, I think, right? Here this is also taken 3.1 million in total, right? Interest, investment income, right? Under investment income, interest and rent, right? We consider interest and also rent. We consider, right? And then there is a relief also. What is that relief? Rent relief. You can deduct rent relief, which is there for the first period and second period. You will get 450 and 150, right? Then after that, taking all this relief, right? You will end up with this. Here, interesting story. Here, while taking the total assessable income and the qualifying payment and relief, and then you will get with the taxable income and you have to apply the tax. Then here, the first period, 2.25 million. Anyway, it is below than 2.25 million. Then it's only up to first level, right? Here, you will go up to this and max balance income is subject to 450, 36%, right? Higher rate එක යනවා මොකද මේ ගාන හැදෙන්නේ මේ ටික එක, right? Balance එක තමයි finally මේ ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ, right? Then tax එක මෙච්චරයි. Here there's another additional new thing. If you have interest, right? If you have interest, you will get 0.5% interest advance income tax deduction, right? Withholding tax එකක් තියෙනවා මේ period එකේ ඉඳලා 5% බැංකුව අඩු කරනවා. Bank will definitely deduct advance income tax at the rate of 5%, right? Here you can take the credit advance income tax on interest 5%. You need to have certificate for this, right? You need to have certificate, advance income tax deduction certificate from the on interest from the bank at the rate of 5%. Then the bank, they have deducted 5% and you need to take the certificate for the last 3 months. Second period එකට tax එකක් තියෙනවා advance income tax කියලා. ඒක withholding tax එක වගේමයි. withholding tax කියන්නේ නැහැ දැන් because it is advance income tax. We have to take the gross interest here. Here actually I would say gross interest, right? Gross interest. Gross එක මෙතෙන්ට දාලා you have to take the whatever the tax deducted by the bank based on the advance income tax deduction certificate. Tax එක deduct කරපු එක ඔයාට අඩු කරන්න පුළුවන්. If you have rent income, again, you need to remember another thing. What is that? Rent income එකක් තියෙනවා. If you are getting The second period, if you are getting rent income more than, if you are getting rent income more than 100,000, more than 100,000 per month, then tenant will deduct 10% advance income tax. Tenant will deduct advance income tax at the rate of 10%, right? එතකොට මේකට second period එකේ advance income මේකට නැහැ. ඔයා consent එක දුන්න නම් විතරයි මේක deduct කරන්නේ. දැන් කවුරුවත් I don't think practically ඔයා consent එක දීලා තියෙනවා tenant. You have given consent to deduct first period. Please deduct withholding advance income tax 6%, 12%, 18%. 6 12 18 කියලා first period එකේ දෙන්න. tenant, right? එහෙම දීලා තියෙනවා නම් තමයි you can deduct. Then you have tax credit. එහෙම නැහැ. Then second period it's mandatory. ඔයා ලක්ෂයට වඩා ගන්නව නම් අනිවාර්යෙන් rent income එක. Then tenant definitely they will deduct 10% advance income tax. Then you will get the certificate from the tenant. Right? ඔයා company එකට නම් rent එකට දීලා තියෙන්නේ. You can get advance income tax deduction certificate on what? On rent. On rent they have deducted at the rate of 10%. Right? Then you can take that credit. Then you need to have certificate in order to claim. This මේක නිකන් දෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඔයාට certificate තියෙනවා. You need to have certificate to prove that you have credit. Right? First period එකේ credit නැහැ. ඔයා කෙනෙක් very rare cases කියන්න පුළුවන් සමහර කෙනෙක්. There are some cases where some people might say optional නේ කලින් තියෙන consent එක දුන්නා නම් තමයි deduct කරන්නේ. දැන් එහෙම නැහැ. Most of the cases they have it is mandatory to deduct. Right? Right. අපි ගත්ත rent income එක ගත්තා dividend අපි ඊළඟට යමු. දැන් අපි මේක ගත්තොත් මේකේ if you take right employment income and business including interest and rent, then the relief we have deducted, right? Then you can take these credit and they are still balance payable, right? Balance payable. Or donation එකක් කළා. If you have donation made to government, right? Donation එකක් make කළා තියෙනවා government, right? If you are make donation to government, right? Let's say you can take it in the either period, first period or second period, right? Donation made to government, right? Let's say government එකේ අපේක්ෂා hospital, government hospital එකකට දීලා තියෙනවා 200,000 worth of beds or any other equipment maybe. This is donation you can make to the government, cash or non-cash. Cash එහෙම නැත්නම් non-cash දෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. That doesn't matter. If it is approved charity only, you need to give it in money form, cash only, right? Then 200,000, you can get that 200,000 here. Donation made to government. Here you need to have receipt. බොරුවට claim කරන්න බෑ. You need to have receipt in order to claim this 200. Right? You need to have receipt. Right. Then, if you have dividend, let's say most of people, those who have dividend, right? Dividend asset. Dividend, if you have dividend, let's say you are getting dividend income, let's say you have dividend for the first period 700,000, the second period 300,000, altogether 1 million dividend for entire year. Here dividend, there is a nice system. For dividend, there is an exemption. For which period? Dividend, it will become final tax for the second period. It will become final tax for the second period, right? Right? How much? Sorry. I will share with you later. You can individually request. Here, so dividend, if you take dividend, right? Dividend for the second period, dividend, අලුත් law එක අනුව definitely then the company who are distributing dividend, they will deduct withholding tax at the rate of 15%, right? They will deduct dividend 15%, right? They will deduct dividend 15%, right? Dividend tax, withholding tax. Then you can exclude that. එහෙනම් මේකේ මේ දෙක විතරයි tax වෙන්නේ. Second period එකේ dividend ආවා කියලා tax වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Because it's final tax. ඔයාලට dividend සම්පූර්ණම gross එක නෙමෙයි මෙතන හම්බෙලා තියෙන්නේ. Right? එතකොට හම්බුණාත් මෙතන gross එක දැම්මත් ඔයා tax ගෙවන්න ඕනේ නැහැ because you are receiving only the net. Because if you have, let's say, dividend 100,000, right? Then they will deduct 15 as dividend tax, right? Dividend tax, all withholding tax. You will get only 85, right? Here you can declare the dividend entire 100 here, but it is not subjected to tax, right? You can declare the 100, let's say here 100,000, but it is not taxable. For the first 9 months only taxable. First 9 months only taxable. First period. Then dividend, here also it will include dividend as well because these three, right? Dividend. Yeah, I'm adding dividend as well. Dividend. I just put due, right? Right? Dividend also addressed, right? Then the dividend, අපි ගන්නෙ නැහැ මෙතන exclude කරනවා. Final withholding tax දෙක කරපු නිසා. Then only the balance things are liable, right? Right? Then here අපි dividend gross එක උඩට දැම්මේ නැහැ. Last 3 month එකේ මෙතෙන්ට ගන්න නම් මොකද dividend අපි ගත්තේ. Here we have taken only the dividend first 9 months only, which is subject to tax. For the balance 3 months, which is not subject to tax. Here we exclude the dividend. Here we altogether we have 1.1 million and 50. Here we remove 100,000 only 150. 1,050,000 only liable for tax, excluding the dividend, right? Right. Dividend also covered, right? Then if you have, let's say, if you have under investment, if you have shares, gain on disposal of investment in quoted shares, listed shares. දැන් ඔයාලා ගොඩක් ලාට ගන්නේ මොකද private shares තියෙනවා නම් ඔතනම දාගන්න පුළුවන් private shares කියලා ඒක exempt නැහැ ඒක liable වෙනවා. ඒක capital gain ගෙවලා තියෙනවා, right? මම ඒක address කරන්නම්. capital gain තියෙනවා නම් කොහොමද ගන්න කියන එක මෙතන line එකක් add කරලා, right? I will discuss capital gain as well. So if you have quoted shares, right? Quoted shares even in the first period or the second period, that doesn't matter, both period it's exempt, right? Right? Let's say you have gain shares here 500,000, here 200,000, right? Both period it's exempt, right? Both period it is exempt. Here this dividend part is exempt. We discussed this dividend we have excluded. Here gain on sale of shares, listed shares නම් ඒකත් exempt. එතකොට ඒක tax වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක අපේ investment එකේ part එකක් විදිහට ගන්නෙ නැහැ. එතකොට ඒක declare කරනවා විතරයි. Then you can include in the computation gain on disposal of quoted shares. You can include in the exempt amount. Return also, in the return, income tax return, you will get a separate column to declare exempt amounts, right? Separate schedule. Return එකේ තියෙනවා separate schedule එක. Here final dividend. So final dividend also you will have to declare in a separately. මේක dividend එකත් separately declare කරන්න තැනක් තියෙනවා exempt amounts and final withholding payment කියලා in the return. Therefore, because of this I have included this two to declare automatically with link. I have deleted now. All links are there, right? Once you enter here, it will automatically come into here, right? Then this same amount and final withholding tax, once you enter, it will automatically come for your disclosure, right? You can include into those things in the return. You have separate schedule in the return as you have separate schedule. මේකට schedule එකක් වෙනම තියෙනවා, right? So then we address investment, all these things. Then let's address capital gain. Capital gain tax එක ගොඩක් අය අහලා තියෙනවා group ලංකා tax club WhatsApp group එකේ, right? මේ දවස් capital gain tax ගැන යනවා, right? So if you have capital gain, right? Capital gain tax එක නේ මෙතන දාන්නේ. You have to include capital gain here. Whether it's first period or second period, that doesn't matter, right? You have to include capital gain here, right? Right? Let's say you have in the second period or the first period, that doesn't matter. You have to consider capital gain එකක් තියෙනවා, you have to include, right? Let's say you have 1 million capital gain, right? Here also you have another 1 million. Right? Capital gain also included. Then capital gain එකක් තියෙනවා නම් අපි capital gain එකට මොකද කරන්නේ? Already we have taxes we have paid at the rate of 10%. මොකද capital gain වල tax එක ගෙවන්න ඕන when the transaction is occurred. If you are selling the land or if you are selling any property, maybe unquoted shares, right? Private shares. Listed company නෙමෙයි, private shares. නැත්නම් sale of any property, right? If you are selling, then it's subject to capital gain tax. Then time you have already paid capital gain tax at that particular time, right? You have already paid that capital gain tax. Then you have to declare on the investment, right? Here, dividend, right? Dividend and quoted shares, right? Shares and capital gain. Capital gain also now I'm addressing, right? If you have capital gain, right, you have to consider here capital gain in time, right? Capital gain, how much? Here also capital gain, this much consider under investment. Here then capital gain is subject to tax at the rate of 10%. Then here, somewhere here you need to include separately, then the capital gain. Gain how much for the first period? You have capital gain for the first period 1 million, 10%, right? 10%. Then you are subjected to pay only by removing these two, only the balance, right? Only the balance, right? Only the balance. Right. Here you will get only balance of after deducting this capital gain as well, right? Only this, right? There won't be any other balance here, right? You don't have any balance. All these things while we taking, this is equal to this, right? This is equal to this. Capital gain આવොත් විතරයි මේ scenario එක එන්නේ, නැත්නම් එන්නේ නැහැ, right? Then you have to take the 10% here, you have to declare. Here also in the somewhere in here, even you can disclose 1 million for the second period. You have two different two gains, no? First period also you have 1 million, second period also you have 1 million. Then you can have this period also separate line for capital gain, right? Like this, right? Here also second period you have another 1 million for the second period, which is subject to tax at the rate of 10%, right? Right? Then you have to apply then the higher dollar, 6, 10, and 12. But because Y10 is only for the capital gain, then you have to adjust this, remove the capital gain tax part as well. Right? Then it should be equal to, sorry, it should be equal to the above this, right? So here you can deduct, if I correct the formula accurately, this should be the way, right? Right here we put 500. So, right, this one. Right, then clear. Then you will end up with like this. Right? Then the capital gain also addressed. Then both capital gain taxes you have paid at that particular time. Capital gain එක transaction එක උන වෙලාවදී ගෙවලා තියෙනවා. එහෙනම් කීයක් ගෙවලා තියෙනවද? Here 100,000 you have paid, and also here you have paid and submitted the return. එක period එකක නම් ඒ period එක විතරයි මම දෙකේම දැන් මේ දෙකට තමයි adjust කරලා පෙන්නන්න ඕන නිසා, right? If you have one particular period you can disclose that, right? ඔය හිතනවා second period එකේ විතරයි කියලා, right? You don't have first period, right? You don't have first period capital gain, you have second period only. You can declare this one only the, right? Declare this one only for the second period, right? Right? Right, that's it. Because here also removing the only the second period only capital gain tax you have. So here you have taken capital gain tax second period can Jan to March period. Okay? Then the capital gain tax you have already paid, no? Capital gain tax. Capital gain tax paid. How much? Already paid. How much? It's 100,000. You can deduct because it is just a matter of disclosing capital gain tax, right? Here you have to take it under investment. You have to take it under investment. මෙතෙන්ට ගන්න ඕන investment කියලා capital gain tax එක. You have to take it, right? You have to take it under investment, right? You have to take it under investment, and you have to show it. It is subject to tax at the rate of 10%, and you have to again claim the whatever the taxes paid already. Then no impact. Just from it was disclosing that, right? It is required to include in the individual tax rate, right? Hope it's clear, right? Then අපි majority එක කතා කරලා ඉවරයි. අපිට තියෙන දැන් investment කතා කරා, investment එකේ capital gain උත් කතා කරා, hoarded shares කතා කරා, right? Then what we have, if anyone having business, අපි employment කතා කරා, investment කතා කරා. Then if anyone doing a business, if you are doing some small shop, if you have some consultancy firm, if you are having some other business activity, law firm or doctor, he is having the private dispensary, lawyer who is doing the private practice, or the lecturer who is doing the additional lecturing, right? The business, right? If you are doing a shop, right? If you have business income, then we have to consider that one as well, right? That one as well, right? So you need to have accounting profit. First of all, let's say you have 10 million as accounting profit, right? You have 10 million as accounting profit. If it is loss, you have to declare here, right? Then there are some adjustments, right? Then because for tax purpose, we have to carefully look at the P&L and identify whether such expenses are incurred for the production of income. Very important mantra is you need to remember, you need to check always whether by looking the expenses in the P&L, whether such expenses are incurred for the production, right? Right? Whether such expenses are incurred for the production of income, right? You need to check, right? You need to remember, you have to work in a section in mind whether such expenses are incurred in the production of income, right? By looking at the P&L, you have identified donation. Donation. Is it incurred for the production? Donation දුන්න කියලා production එක වැඩි වෙනවද? Right? Lecturing කරන සගේ service time එක වැඩි වෙනවද නැහැ? Income එක වැඩි වෙනවද නැහැ? Oh, right? If you are a doctor, if you donate something, patient ලා වැඩි වෙනවද නැහැ? Direct impact එකක් නැහැ. Right? Therefore, you have to add back. Let's say you have donated 200,000, you have to add back. Right? Donation, you have to add back. Right? Then, let's say entertainment. Entertainment. If you do as a company, if you are doing a small shop, right? Apparel shop, ඇඳුම් කඩයක් කරනවා town එකේ. Entertainment වියදමක් දරනවා. You have incurred some entertainment or dancing party or something like that, right? You incurred 300,000. Is it incurred for the production? Dance කරා කියලා production එක වැඩි වෙනවද? Sales වැඩි වෙනවද නැහැ? Right? Therefore, entertainment, it is not allowable expenses. Accountant, they will charge in the P&L. By looking at the P&L, we have to disallow these things. Yeah, if you want, you can categorize allowable expenses, disallowable expenses. But here I will take all these things at once, right? Therefore, I will not segregate, right? Then accountant, they will charge depreciation, accounting depreciation, right? You have to add back that accounting depreciation. If you are doing a business, you might have some asset, right? The accounting depreciation you will deduct from the accounts. Let's say you have 1 million, right? Accounting depreciation. However, you can claim capital allowance. ප්‍රාග්ධන දීම. It's 20% something. Sometimes most of the cases you will end up with a higher claim because tax rate is higher than the accounting rate most of the cases. Let's say accounting rate is 5%, 10%, tax is mostly 20%. Other than building, right? Building and intangible asset, buildings, it's 5%, right? All other assets, right? Other than few, right? All other assets 20%, 5 years, 20% you can claim. Cost again 20% claim කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? Then let's say capital expenses එකක් තියෙනවා. Capital expense. ප්‍රාග්ධන වියදම්. If it is charged in the P&L with the purpose of reduce the profit in order to reduce the tax, right? You can't do like that. If any capital capex, if it is included, you have to add back. Then you can claim capital allowance on such asset. You can claim capital allowance on such asset separately, right? That doesn't matter. On this cost, you can claim, let's say machinery, it is 20%, you can claim 100%, right? Capex expenses, right? Machine purchase, machinery purchase, you have charged into PN. Machinery purchase. Charge into PNL, you have to add accounting profit එක හදලා තියෙන PNL එකට machine එකකුත් දාලා, right? It is not allowed, you have to disallow, and you can claim the capital on such as, right? Then domestic expenses. Domestic expenses කියන්නේ ගෙදර ළමයින්ගේ school fees given, right? Then there may be you have paid for your wife Zumba class fee, right? Or yoga class fee, or any other meals or any asset you purchase for to your kitchen, let's say refrigerator or the washing machine you purchase under company draw, right? company large and සල්ලි අරගෙන ගෙදර දොර වියදම් පියවනවා කියන්නේ. Those things are domestic nature. Then if it is so, you have to disallow. P&L එකට දාලා තියෙනවා ඒ ඉඩ දෙන්නේ නැහැ. Personal electricity bill, personal water bill, you can't pay on your business, right? Those things we have to add back, right? Whatever the personal things you have to add back, right? You can deduct salaries, water, electricity, whatever the things, expenses attributable to production, business, or attributable to production or the business income, right? Business. So any other thing you maybe say provisions, whatever the provisions, right? Any provisions if you provide, right? If you provide any provisions, right? Maybe there are many provisions now, famous bad debt, right? Bad debts, right? Bad debts. So let's say inventory provision, let's say inventory provision or gratuity provision, gratuity or bonus provision, bonus ගෙවන්න තියෙනවා ඒකට provision එකක් දාන්න, right? Inventory provision, gratuity provision, bad debt provision, warranty provision, right? And warranty provision, right? Whatever the provisions you have to disallow, right? Let's say 1.2 million. Then you can claim only the write-off. Then you need to have support in for the write-off, right? You need to have support in for the write-off. You can't blindly claim the support in, right? Without supporting, you can't blindly claim the write-off, right? You need to have supporting. If it is bad debt, you need to have recovery action to be taken, right? Lawyer fees and all these, letter of demand and all these things you need to provide, right? Then the let's say bad debt, you need to have supporting for that. The recovery action, whether recovery action have been taken or not in case of bad debt, right? If you take bad debt, right? You need to check whether recovery action taken. Yes, if it is so, you can claim, let's say, all write-off for the year this much. You can really separately disclose provision for bad debt, provision for inventory, provision for gratuity, provision for bonus, provision for warranty, right? Likewise. Then the write-off for bad debt, write-off, inventory write-off, gratuity, you can take the gratuity payment. You can deduct, right? Then the gratuity paid amount you can take, right? Gratuity paid you can claim, right? Whatever the gratuity payment you can pay, right? Whatever the paid amount you can claim, whatever the gratuity provisions you have to add back, right? Gratuity paid. Then bonus payment, yes, bonus payment you can. Here write off only inventory and bad debt, right? Inventory write off you can in inventory write off, right? Warranty, bonus or payment, right? Warranty or bonus paid we can deduct, right? Then the warranty paid we can deduct. Here if you want all provisions you can disclose separately because of the time and all. If you want, if you are feeling like uncomfortable, right? Bad debt, I will disclose this one separately, right? Bad debt, provision for bad debt you have to disallow. Let's say bad debt provision you have 600,000, right? You can deduct bad debt write off, right? You can deduct bad debt write off. If it is recovery action taken, write off you can deduct somewhere. Here let's say you have write off 400,000 bad debt write off, Here, let's say you have gratuity provision. Let's say you have gratuity provision. Gratuity provision, you have to add back gratuity provision. Let's say you have 400, right? And you can deduct gratuity paid. Then let's say you have bonus provision. Bonus provision, you have 200. Let's say, no, 1.2 million bonus provision. You have paid bonus only 1 million. Warranty provision. Warranty provision. You have warranty provision. You can add back somewhere here, let's say 600. You can deduct warranty paid amount 500. Sometime you might end up with higher amount as paid, right? So this is a bad debt provision. You have to add back. You can claim the bad debt write-off subject to recovery action taken. Gratuity provision you have to add back, and gratuity paid you can deduct. Bonus provision you have to add back. Bonus paid you can deduct. Whatever the provisions you have to add back. Warranty provision you have to add back. You can claim the warranty paid. Likewise, if you noted any provisions, if you are doing a business, right? Even company accounts, company tax වලටත් මේක අදාළයි. Impairment, individual impairment, collective impairment, that doesn't matter. All disallowed, right? Individual not collective not disallowed. Deduct කරන්න වෙන්නේ write off, right? Then any other expenses if you take penalty payment, penalty, tax penalty or custom penalty, anything. If you are breaching any law, if you are paying taxes as penalty or interest, fines, right? Penalty, fines, right? Interest, if because of breaching any common law, breaching any law, right? If you comply properly, there is no penalty, right? Taxes will not give no penalty, right? If any penalties are there, just disallow, right? These are like common things, right? Which is applicable for all. If you have any research and development expenses, right, you can have double deduction subject to certain things. If you have those things, you can reach out to me, right? There are many other things, adjustments. Then if you take loan, then it should be utilized for the business purpose. Personal business එකට අරගත්ත loan personal use කරලා ඒකේ interest එක P&L එකට charge කරන්න බෑ. It's very rare cases department can't take those all these things. But as per the law, it says if you are taking a loan and you can charge the interest in the P&L, bank loan interest, right? Bank loan interest. Then that in order to charge the bank loan interest, you need to make sure whether such loan is utilized for business for the purpose of purchasing asset or working capital purpose, right? Utilized for the business. If they acquired an asset, right? That asset should be used for the business, right? Loan එක අරන් තියෙන්නේ asset එකක් ගන්න කියලා හිතන්න. Asset එකක් ගන්න කියලා, right? Such asset should be used for the business during the year. Asset අරගෙන නිකන් රෙද්දි කැල්ලකින් වහලා දාන්න බෑ, right? Working capital purpose now, then you have to take for that working capital purpose. Otherwise, interest also should be disallowed, right? Likewise, then in order to claim capital allowance also, there's a nice story. Capital allowance, you need to have ownership. Then අනුන්ගේ ගෙවල් වලට ගිහිල්ලා අයිතිවාසිකම් කියන්න බෑනේ, right? Then you can't take the ownership of others' wives and all these particular assets and all, right? You need to have, in order to claim the capital allowance, you need to have ownership, right? and on it should be used for the business purpose, right? තියෙන asset ටික use කරන්න නැත්නම් again you can't claim the capital. Use the end of the year. විකුණලා තියෙනවා නම් claim කරන්න බෑ ආවුදට, right? At the end of the year, right? You can't claim capital allowance at the end of the year if it is not available. Available නැහැ කියන්නේ අනිවාර්යෙන් ඒක විකුණලා, right? So you can claim the capital allowance in the year of purchase even if you use one single day for that particular year. එක දවසක් use කරත් ගත්ත අවුරුද්දට සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම claim කරන්න පුළුවන්. විකුණන අවුරුද්දට year of disposal you can't claim the capital allowance. Here's another story you can write down if you want. Purchase year of purchase you can claim capital allowance for entire year. Year of disposal you can't claim the capital allowance for entire year. Year of purchase if you use one single day you can claim if you have the ownership, use and available criteria, right? විකුණන අවුරුද්දේ විකුණුනොත් ඉතින් available නැහැනේ, right? Even though if it is on and used, it is not available. It is not applicable to claim capital allowance. The thing rule is this: ownership and use plus available. Right? These are some common adjustments for the business, right? If you are doing a business, right, you need to have this type of business adjustment, right? Plus column and the, let's say, minus column in total. Then you will end up with finally 12.650 million, right? Right? 12,650,000 as accessible income from business. Or business income, right? Right? You have accessible income from business this much. Then it is required to connect under business, right? Right? You can take for the first period by dividing 12 and multiplied by 9. මාස 9ක් apportion කරනවා, prorate කරලා ගන්න පුළුවන්, prorate කරලා. So you can prorate for the balance 3 months divided by 12 multiplied by 3. For the 3 months, this. Then the altogether amount would be equal to, full amount is 12.650, right? For 9 months and 3 months, business income you prorate and apply, right? Then that's it. Then the tax liability again will increase 2.5 million. Then anyway, if you are having the business, you will end up with, definitely you will pay quarterly payment, right? You will end up with quarterly payment, right? Quarterly payment or the business එකක් තියෙනවා නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඔයා quarterly payment ගෙවනවා. Let's say you paid quarterly, each quarter 500,000, right? quarter 4ට 500,000 ගෙවලා තියෙනවා, right? You can deduct that particular 2 million for these 4 quarters, right? Then if there are any balance payable, you have to make it as final payment, right? Before moving to that, there are some other qualifying payment as well, right? Qualifying payment, donation to approved charity. If you made donation to approved charity, even if it is money only, right? You have to deduct only if you made donation in money, right? If you made in money, right? If you donation made in money, you can deduct, right? Even in the first quarter, second period or the second period, you can deduct, right? That doesn't matter, right? Let's say you have that donation in the second period. Let's say you have donated 300, but it says 1/3 of the taxable income, right? Or 75,000, right? 1/3 of the taxable income. Anyway, taxable income, if you link taxable income anyway, will end up with, for the second period is this much, right? The second period taxable income. මොකද දැන් කෙනෙක්ට ප්‍රශ්නයක් එන්න පුළුවන්, අපි qualifying payment තියෙන්නේ මෙතන, taxable income තියෙන්නේ මෙතන, donation තියෙන්නේ somewhere here, right? Donation to approved. How we can take 1/3 of the taxable income without claiming the charitable institution donation or these qualifying payment and relief, right? That's how they have make the law. Then if you are doing in Excel, you have to make go to the formula and make enable option. If you go to option and enable iterative, right? If you enable iterative under formula, this tick, then you can do this calculation by taking this figure. Otherwise, actually 1/3 of taxable income is always higher than 75,000. Then you have to, logically you need to compare only this. මේ දෙක විතරයි ඇත්තටම compare කරන්න ඔය 1/3 of taxable income එකේ ලොකු ගාණක් නේ. Right? Always you need to compare only this. Then lower is 75. You can claim 75. This 1/3 of taxable income is anyway higher amount, right? No need, or no need to do the 1/3 of taxable income. Even you can compare actual and this, right? That doesn't matter. Then you can claim this 75,000, right? Then the most any specified institution, if you donate to Api Fund, right? Or Sevana Fund or universities, right? If you donate, right, let's say 100,000 for University of Jawaharlal, right? So you can take that, right, as donation made to government under specified institution. If you donation made to lady from a Samudi beneficiary family in order to establish a shop, ඒක ගොඩක් වෙලාට very rare cases ඉතින් එන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙම තියෙනවා නම් you can claim. The film cost, all these things, if you have, you can claim again up to maximum 1/3 of the taxable income. Right? Here the nice interesting scenario, if you have any balance, you can carry it forward to next year as well. Right? Mostly it is not applicable to much for all, right? Therefore, I will skip these two without entering figures. Most applicable scenarios I address, right? If you have any specific issues, you can reach out to me, right? So all these things we have taken. Then after taking this qualifying payment, finally we can end up with the taxable income. And how this tax applicable, now you can see first 2.25 million, 6%, second 2.25 million into 12%, balance 7.7 million out of this. Then you can see this is equal to this, right? 12 point, this amount is equal, right? Right? This is equal, not clear, no? Right? This amount is equal to this. Right? Here also you can see, right? Right? This 4.2, 4.8 is equal to this. Then how we have a right like this? Because here is include capital gain as well. It's also addressed. Then finally, if you have quarterly payment also taken, these things also addressed. Then finally, if there are any balance payable, you have to make it on or before 30th September. Let's assume you have paid. You can include that one under here, final payment. If you include this final payment also here, then you have paid income tax quarterly and also you paid final payment as well. Then quarterly ගෙවපු නැති අයගෙන් 0 කියලා දාලා final එක විතරක් දාන්න පුළුවන්. You can include only final figure. Right? Because සමහර අයගේ salary interest තියෙන ඕන නම් finally ගෙවන්න වෙලා 1500 2000 5000 small amount you have to pay. You can include it here by removing all these things. And final amount is this much. Then you can zero, make it 0 balance tax payable before filing the return. Make a 0 කරලා තමයි return එක file කරන්න ඕනේ. You have to submit the return by making this figure 0, right? That is very important. Very, very